Hello, viewers. I believe most of you are already very familiar with our beautiful, distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, the National Assembly star girl, and her suspension saga. Oh, yes. We realized that suspension began as a big sensation. She accused Akpabio of sexual harassment, and in turn, she was suspended. And that's because the whole thing started when she said she was being changed from her chair, from her seat, without prior notice. In reaction, the National Assembly leadership tried to explain, but then that couldn't work. So there was this whole chaos, and she was eventually slammed a 6-month suspension. Today, we're bringing back what's going on. We want to bring back the updates. But it's really not about the updates. It's also about the new party, the African Democratic Congress. We want to talk about them in conjunction with Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. All right, viewers, my name is Abundance Effiong. Welcome to the Street Talk Show. The Street Talk Show is a new program that is coming up on Kimeku ETV YouTube channel. And so you can watch us every week, every day, every week. You can watch us. It's all about current events. It's all about trending issues in the country. So you're going to hear our own part of it. And so today, we're coming with an episode that we title ADC woes Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan as its latest political bride. And so that's it. And I want you to know that we want to have a very lively conversation. Your contribution at the comment section, contribution in the comment section is going to be very, very, very important. I want us to have a lively conversation. You see, the Street Talk Show is all about conversation. We want to talk. You can be free to say what you want to say. You can be free to comment. Of course, nobody's going to stop you. It's all about the street. We're going to do it the street way, where there are no holds barred. And so back to our topic for today, ADC woes Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan as its latest political bride. Let's get back to what is going on in the National Assembly right now. As a lot of you may be aware, Senator Natasha was suspended on March 6, 2025 by the Privileges and Ethics Committee of the National, of this Senate in the National Assembly. Senator Natasha was found wanting in terms of behavior. You know, the thing is this, from what we gathered, from all that drama that went on, we realized that Senator Natasha had a relationship with the Senate President, distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio. She had a relationship. And that is even why when she went to Akpabio's house, she accompanied Akpabio to be shown around the place in the company of her husband. They've traveled outside to do one thing, to represent Nigeria in various conferences, international conferences that even involves UN. And so when this saga began, and then her seat was changed, because in life nothing is permanent. In the wisdom of the Senate, they found it necessary, since some persons were decamping from the PDP to APC. So they felt there was a need to reshuffle seats. But Senator Natasha didn't take this line low. She felt, as a woman, by the way, it may interest you to know that there are about just 4 women in the Senate out of the 109 senators. And so when she saw this as a personal blow. But I think it also has to do with the fact that her juicy committee was taken away from her. These are some of the underplay that we may not really dive into, since we are not in the Senate president's office, so we don't work there. So we may not know some other things that played behind. But what has been presented to us in the public space, social media, traditional media, we've been able to gather the fact that she wasn't really happy about that change of committee. And so when she came there, she picked on the change of seats and decided she wasn't going to sit. She wasn't going to lie low. She was not going to take that lying low. And so the war started. And the next blow she needed to deal on Akpabio was to cry sexual harassment. But again, now for me, I see a scenario. We remember that Reno Omokri had to come out to speak about this. I'm not just going to bore you. I'm just going to bring back the past a little bit so that we can understand where I'm going. So Reno Omokri came out to accuse Natasha of playing this same game with him. And interestingly, when she did this allegation, he was out of the country. And so that was what saved him. Otherwise, Natasha would have nailed him for sexual harassment. That was when he was in government. And then we also remember again, Yaya Bello was also accused during Kogi governorship elections. He was accused by the same Natasha. Now there is also a minister who came out to say, look, my case, my case has nothing to do with Natasha. Yet Natasha did accuse the minister also of sexual harassment. And so for me, there's this trail of a woman who loves to accuse people of sexual harassment. And that's why I was never sympathetic. I know for you who may be one of her fans, you will say, oh, you have already taken sides, you are biased. Well, I'm not being biased. I'm just trying to analyze the whole thing the way it's supposed to be. The way any rational person would want to look at it. I don't want to look at it from a gender aspect. And so before you know it, Natasha ran to the courts. And then when she ran to the court, to drag Akpabio to the same court. But of course, we also know how Akpabio's wife retaliated with another court litigation. She also came out with, I think, $1 billion or so damage that she wanted to claim, because Natasha herself also wanted to claim monies for the damage. And so she was suspended, and her suspension was to last for 6 months. We saw how she went everywhere trying to rally support. She went to court several times. We've seen how she tried to rally support that her suspension was not supposed to take place, and she was not going to serve the 6 months. We saw in the whole country how analysts, political analysts, legal analysts, all kinds of people they had a field day, but the Senate persisted. At some point, she even went internationally. She traveled internationally to go and seek international redress. But all of that didn't work. None of those things worked. For me, it was all drama. But I know that a whole lot of people saw her part, that she was going to win this whole battle. Well, all of those things have happened and they are right behind now. The point I am coming to is the fact that eventually she had to wait through the 6 months. Her suspension was to expire on the 6th of September. But on the 4th, the acting clerk came up with a twist. that is something else. He came up with a twist. And he sent a letter to Senator Natasha and said, look, we are aware that your suspension is elapsing on the 6th, but we cannot welcome you back. Why? Because it's a pending appeal case in the appeal court. And so that's the twist that we're having here right now. But the interesting thing is that suddenly some sons have come up and they are saying, look, you cannot bar this lady from coming back to the National Assembly. You cannot do that as a matter of law. In fact, I was reading about some sons who are now saying, look, this lady has taken time to save her 6 months. Why do you want to bar her from resuming her responsibilities in the National Assembly? That means that you want to bar the Kogi Central constituents from enjoying the dividend of democracy that Senator Natasha was bringing to them. But you see, Nigeria is a very funny place. This lady did not want to serve this suspension for 6 months. Legal luminaries came, they talked, they pointed out. In fact, they brought instances. They said, look, Senator Omo Agege was also suspended, but he went to court. And the court turned down that suspension. Agege won, came back. We saw Senator Ndume also was suspended. He went to court and court brought him back. So it was like, look, this is not going to happen. The Senate is overreaching themselves. Why would they insist on 6 months? What the law says is 14 days. What the law says is 14 days. But here are the same sons, senior advocates of Nigeria, who are coming to say, look, this lady served her 6 months. Did she really serve 6 months? Did she really serve 6 months? We saw a scenario where she turned the whole country to a drama theater, running everywhere. I remember when the governor of Kogi State, Ododo, His Excellency, Governor Ododo, issued a strong warning through the police, issued a strong warning, look, Senator Natasha, don't come to Kogi to celebrate your celebration. There's what she wanted to celebrate, I think it had to do with her anniversary or thereabouts. And there was so much tension because the police in their wisdom saw that, look, if she comes in, there was a tendency that there would be bloodbaths, bloodletting. But what happened? Senator Natasha began to play the Rambo. She came in a chopper. I tell you, she came in a chopper and landed there. Oh, before you know it, her supporters began to clap. Senator Natasha defied, Ododo defied, security defied, everybody. She was everywhere. Did she dutifully go home to just stay and mourn the suspension? No, she did not. She went everywhere. Imagine when she had to travel to this United Nations program for women. There she laid her case. She talked about sexual harassment. But I do not support gender harassment. I do not support gender victimization. When I mean gender, naturally, gender is male, female. But today, gender has become more female than male. That's not a challenge. I don't have a problem with that. I don't support it. But I do not also support when a woman wants to use this gender thing as a bomb, a nuclear weapon to threaten people. If you don't do my bidding, I will scream sexual harassment. If you don't do my bidding, I will claim you touched my breasts or you touched my butt or whatever. You know? So right now, the battle is on. But today I truly didn't come to talk about Natasha as it were. I didn't come to talk about Natasha. But there is no way I will relate this story. There's no way I will discuss this matter about ADC, the African Democratic Congress, without talking about Natasha as it stands now, because they have come out to speak for Natasha. But before I get there, I want to also still look at what the Sons are saying. Everyone is sitting in the comfort of their home, just like I am here now, trying to analyze this very situation. Saying all manner of things, you find, uh, let me see. Okay, I may not readily see that some of these quotes from um, some of these sons. I may not spend much time looking for that, but I will definitely talk about ADC. I will definitely quote them when I come to them. But the Sun, I can paraphrase some of them. At least I read statements by three different senior advocates of Nigeria. And what they were all talking about was the fact that it is injustice. It borders on excess power that is wielded by the National Assembly, the Senate to be precise. That if they do not allow Senator Natasha to return this time, because 6 September was when she was supposed to return. But we saw that there was a time that she came. Now remember that Senate is resuming on the 23rd of September. It was the time she came to forcefully enter National Assembly, but her supporters had to battle with security agents to stop them from coming inside. Now, I do not dislike Natasha. I want you to understand this. If you are her follower, if you are her supporter, I do not dislike Senator Natasha. But I hate when a woman uses her feminine leverage to want to cause havoc in the system, in the society, to want to use her feminine endowments to harass men. I don't like that. I'm not. I don't support such. I don't support. I agree that Senator Natasha is a very beautiful woman. Of course, that cannot be overlooked. But I don't like this mafia tactics of using sexual harassment. We can't find 3 men being accused. Now, yes, Senator Akpabio is the 4th man being accused simply because there's been internal issues, internal crisis within the Senate. Look, these are things that she could have as well gone to the Senate President's office and sit face to face. Why? Both of them are elected senators. And so she could have just done that. But now, having flexed muscle, where are those supporters that were supporting her to do all of these things? Where are they? Nobody is coming out to support her, to carry her into the Senate chambers. The Senate is resuming on the 23rd of this month. The truth is that she will not be able to enter until the powers that be are prevailed upon. Now, there is another twist to this case now. It's not just about the Senate. I can tell you for free that the presidency got involved at some points. We all know this. These things that I'm sharing are not hidden things. The federal government took her to court for accusing the Senate president, for accusing former governor Eya Bello of threatening her life. That case, I don't know if that case has been settled in the court. But also remember why the National Assembly is insisting that she cannot return until the legal battle is finished. You remember when she started this whole thing that she ran to court. You know that the court takes a long time. The court takes a long time to settle matters. If she did not run to court, I think the National Assembly itself would have heard her. But she did not. She ran to court. And so when she came back with her petition to the to the Senate Ethics and Privileges Committee, when she came back, they said, look, we cannot entertain, because I remember when Akpoti is a very smart guy. He asked her, is this matter in any court in Nigeria? And of course she said, no, there's none. She thought she was playing smart. But then again, the matter was already in court. And so because the matter was in courts, it was very easy for the National Assembly, for the Senate, to ensure that that case was not heard. It was thrown out. Now her suspension has expired, but she cannot come back because the case is still in the court. I want you, who is out there listening to me, I want you to go. Let's go to the comment section. Let's have a conversation. Do you think that the National Assembly is right to bar her from coming in when the case is not over? Do you think that they are right? Do you think that she has a right to override that very court case? I mean, to resume while the court case is still running? I need you to get to the comment section and then let's have a healthy conversation. Okay, so this thing is becoming increasingly interesting. I was talking about the sons who have now emerged to fight for her. They are insisting she is an elected officer, elected senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And so she deserves a right to go in and serve her people. That's the people from the Kogi Central Senatorial District. That's what they are insisting. And they're even insisting that, look, for National Assembly to bar her from resuming after serving her 6 months is injustice. Not is it injustice, it is immoral. It is constitutionally not right. Wow. When I read these things from the Sun, from the Suns, I was like, wow, 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 wow. Nigeria is a very dramatic country. When an issue happens like this, everybody wants to come out. Everybody wants to say something. So we are seeing it now. We are seeing it. The Suns are coming, but more Suns are coming because when 23rd of September comes and Natasha has not resumed. I'm aware too that she went to court in one of those court proceedings that even uh, Justice Nyako said something about she should be allowed to come back. But the thing about judgment is that when there is no clear-cut judgment, it can be interpreted anyhow. You see, the court did not tell her you're going to resume today. They only said you can resume. You can resume can mean you can resume now. You can resume tomorrow. You can resume in the next 1 year, the next 2 years. Because I remember Justice Yago said, oh, suspending her for 6 months simply means that she has even saved half of our senatorial year at home. So, and that wasn't right. Well, let's move on from what the Sons are saying. Let's look at what her party is saying. Her party, the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, is they've gone wild. They've gone wild right now, as far as they are concerned, for the Senate to bar their member from rejoining the National Assembly is a height of injustice. The PDP is really very angry. They are very, 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 very angry. They're very angry. But I'm still not going to read their statement because it's really not about them that I'm here. It's really not about them. But I'm saying that what they have said is not so different from, or what the ADC has said is not so different from what they've said. But they are angry. They are angry that why will their member be stopped from resuming? And so for them, it's a very pathetic. It is very, very undemocratic. It's a serious matter. But the point is, what can they really do? What can they really do when their candidate, when their member was misbehaving in all of those things? Why did they not call her and caution her? Why did they support her in such rascality? I mean, let's face it. Of course, PDP is finished. That's just another thing. PDP is more like a snake that the head has been cut off and is struggling. No, but when you see the tail flapping here, wriggling, you do not know that the head has been cut off. The PDP is finished as a party, so nobody really minds them anymore. But of course, they still have to make noise. I know that Wike has really dealt the death blow. Wike has refused to move out, but he has refused to move out, but he's still dealing the death blow on them. I think he's not yet done with them. So for me, PDP ought to have called their candidate from day one, their member, and told her, look, madam, this is not the right way to go. If you need to resolve things, it's not about drama. It's not about it's not about public theatrics, running everywhere, causing chaos. Nigeria is a very nice country. Do you know that such thing in some other climes, for instance, in the Middle East, would have created bloodletting? Yes. Such action that you pulled, such stunts. So PDP is finished. And that's why I don't really want to bother to talk about them. Because there was a time that PDP used to be Lord all over the place. I remember when they said they had this 64-year plan. Nobody's going to push them out. Well, fortunately, they are out and they're struggling for their life. A lot of their members, they've lost their members now to ADC. It is actually ADC I want to talk about. Like I said, for this episode, the title of this episode is ADC. That's African Democratic Congress woes Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan as its latest political bride. Why am I saying it's their latest political bride? It's simply because ADC has come on board. You know why I'm saying all of these things. Please forgive me if I seem to be mocking ADC. I'm not mocking ADC, but I'm just looking at the average Nigerian politician. That's why I want to use ADC to explain the average Nigerian politician. When it does not favor him, he will join the opposition party and he will now become the defender of the Nigerian masses. He will now become the different man. Oh, he will scream, he will tell you the things that he wants to do, but give him power. And he will do the same thing. The same thing the very party that he is criticizing is doing. Of course, I am not saying that APC has no fault. Of course, APC has its own faults. But the truth is, let's face it. Let's face it. The problem APC has is also the Nigerian problem. Nigerians themselves have a problem. Oh, we do. The leadership and the followership have problems. But one thing that we keep running away from is the fact that the followership has a problem that they need to fix. So we've completely faced the leadership that, oh, if the leadership is right, the followership will be right. But it takes a strong followership to strengthen a leadership. Whether you like it, you take it or leave it. The truth is that in America, the American leadership is what it is today because the followership is very strong. They will tell the president, look, you're not doing it right, and we're not going to vote you in. I know, talking about the voting, that's another story for another day. But right now, so we see ADC. ADC has now come in. The saviors of the Nigerian masses. It's so interesting. Now, I will be forced to read the statement that was issued. You know, if you go to Punch, so you find this. You find this. I want to read something interesting in a statement issued on Wednesday by its National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi. Oh, the party accused the Senate leadership of disregarding both legal precedent and moral obligation by preventing the Kogi Central Senator from resuming her role after completing a 6-month suspension. Every time I hear this completion of 6-month suspension, it reminds me of the same people who were saying, look, you can't serve these 6 months. The Senate is unfair. They want to force you to serve the 6 months. You're supposed to just be away for 14 days. Then you come back because there are legal precedents. So, but let's go. Let's just hear in his own words what this guy said, Mr. Abdullahi. You know, it's so very interesting. Now, here is what Abdullahi said. He said, the African Democratic Congress observes with deep concern the continued obstruction of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan from resuming her seat in the Nigerian Senate after the completion of her 6-month suspension. We consider this development not only malicious, but also deeply injurious to the spirit of our constitutional democracy, especially the right to dissent. I hope you understand what dissent means. That's the right to disagree. Oh, yes. Quickly, that just reminds me that as Senator David Mark has been made their national chairman. Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. We'll talk about that another time. But right now, let's keep looking at this statement. So he said it is important to recall that the suspension of Senator Natasha was imposed by the Senate, not by a court of law. Now the question is it the court of law that would have disciplined an erring member of the Senate? Is it a court of law? No, please, you that will be commenting, let me know whether it is a court of law. That's why the Senate Ethics and Privileges Committee is there to discipline erring members. Nobody's above the law. Okay, so, and whether one agrees with the basis for that decision or not, the tenure of that disciplinary action has lapsed. I keep laughing over this elapsement of 6 months tenure of suspension. I keep laughing about it because let me not go there again. So let me just continue. Is there any further attempt to prevent her from resuming is therefore both illegal and morally indefensible? You see this thing I'm reading here now. It's not so different from what PDP wrote. That's why I said I didn't want to bore you with the one of PDP, the one that their publicity secretary also wrote. So I'm looking at now two people fighting over one, two guys fighting over one beautiful bride. You see, that's what I'm just looking at now, and I am sensing very strongly that ADC will soon pull Natasha out of PDP. This is how it always starts. This is how it always starts. He said this is not about partisan politics. So it is about what? If it is not about partisan politics, why are you talking? Why? Why are you defending her now? She's not even in your party. Of course, at least not yet, until we will hear that she has crossed over. So it says, it is about a dangerous precedent being set within our legislative institutions, one that reduces democratic representation to the whims of a few individuals rather than the will of the electorate. Oh, it is about a political culture that appears more invested in punishing dissent than in upholding this justice. You know why I laugh? I'm still going to continue with the statement of the publicity secretary, Mr. Abdullahi. But why I laugh is the fact that most of these people were either in PDP or APC. This same ADC now, this African Democratic Congress, most of the members. So why do you want me to believe that there's any difference between the ADC and the APC? So you see what I'm trying to say now. So, but let's just keep going with Mr. Abdullahi. He said, let it be clearly stated, the people of her constituency elected Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to speak on their behalf. Denying her access to the chamber is, by extension, denying her constituents the right to be heard. ADC understands marketing. ADC understands marketing. With this kind of expression, with this kind of expression, you should know that they are tactically now beginning to throw. To push the rope, the noose gradually into Natasha's neck, gradually. By the time the noose hooks very well, you begin to drag her to ADC. This is a marketing, as far as I am concerned. What ADC is saying here is just about marketing, trying to bring in a new member. And you know that Natasha is a very strong brand. At least now of course, for her followers, it's a very strong brand. Beautiful, a star actress in the National Assembly. a strong brand, powerful brand. Imagine having such candidate, under the ADC. I mean, that will shake the whole system. So fine. So let's continue with the statement. And so is that to strip an elected senator of these tools is not discipline. It is institutional mugging. Mugging. I hope you understand what mugging is. It's even more disturbing is the posture of the Senate leadership, which has continued to act as though legislative power can be exercised without accountability. Oh, now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You see, ADC is really marketing itself. Now they want to talk about accountability in the National Assembly. Fine. So we continue to read. So we challenge the Senate President and his colleagues to explain why a suspension that has run its course should be made indefinite by stealth. But I don't think that, in fairness to the Senate leadership, they've not said that this suspension is indefinite. This is a disciplined Senate that is just trying to go through the legal process. Natasha wanted the legal process to be observed. And this is a very responsible Senate that is saying, look, let us wait for the appeal in the appeal court to run through. My brothers, my sisters, what do you think? If the Senate is not disciplined, would they want to wait for the appeal to run through? The Senate has been so disciplined in handling Natasha's case. You know the kind of trauma she has caused the Senate president. Oh, you know the pains. You know, anywhere I go, I hear people saying, "Hey, Akwa Ibom people, oh, they know how to knock." Things like that. So this man, I read in the PDP speech, they said Akpabi already has a pedigree in harassing women. You know, such things are defamative in nature. They are defamative in nature. But well, let me just still manage to go through this man's exalted speech. Very interesting speech. The several respected senior advocates of Nigeria. Remember, I did mention SANS, senior advocates of Nigeria that spoke on behalf of Natasha. They say senior advocates of Nigeria have rightly observed that Senator Natasha's suspension, having fully lapsed, can no longer be used as a justification to deny her return. A pending legal appeal does not suspend constitutional rights. Oh yes. Nor does it grant any official the power to override the mandate of the electorate. Why are the opposition always hypocritical? Why? I want you that is watching me, you that is listening to me, I want you to explain to me why. Now, the legal angle is no longer important. It is now the electorate. These are the people that, perchance, ADC wins power today. The electorate will be neglected completely. The electorate will be totally ignored. Whether you believe it or not, that's the way it is. You know, when a party is looking for power in Nigeria, they would jump into everything, you know, to oppose the ruling party. But when they get power, they don't do better. Okay, so that's now about the will of the electorate, the mandate of the electorate. Now we see the electorate having a mandate. Oh, to continue barring her from office is therefore a violation of the Constitution. The Constitution here is mentioned. The Senate, as the nation's highest lawmaking body, must not be seen to violate the very laws it exists to uphold. Oh my God. I hope this sounds interesting. You know why I'm reading this? It's just because I am enjoying the statements by Mr. Abdullahi. Oh yes, I am really enjoying his statement. The publicity secretary of the ADC. He said, we also note with concern the clerk of the National Assembly's refusal to process her resumption on the grounds that the matter is sub judice. While the clerk may claim administrative caution, what is being projected is administrative complicity. Oh, the clerk has now been blamed. Opposition party has a funny way of doing things. So because the clerk is following due process, he has to be blamed for being complicit. Oh yes, he has to be blamed. Of course. But this gentleman is doing his job. He's doing his job. He doesn't want his job to be tampered with. He's doing his job. Oh yes. So now they say, okay. He said his role is not to adjudicate, but to facilitate. When the administrative machinery becomes hostage to political interests, the institution itself is diminished. Well, the story is long. Okay, fine. So I wanted to skip some things, but I can't skip this one. This one is very, very interesting. This one is very, very interesting. I know you may have read this thing or may not have even taken time to read, but just for the people who never read this, my point is that ADC is trying to attract, is trying to woo, is trying to magnetize, is trying to use everything in their arsenal to be able to draw Senator Natasha into ADC. After all, Dino Melaya has joined them. So now he says Senator Natasha is one of only 4 women in a Senate of 109 members. Nigeria's paltry female representation of 2.7% is already among the worst records of women's political participation, even in Africa. Now they are telling us that they want to speak for women. Of course, we know that the APC says 40% to the women. So at least they are doing something in that area. He said any action that resembles gender intimidation of the few women in the Senate would only discourage women's participation and make Nigeria appear even worse in the eyes of the world. Oh, so I continue. Nigeria cannot claim to be a democracy while marginalizing half of its population from its most critical spaces of decision-making. The soul of democracy lies in its capacity to accommodate dissent, protect the minority voice, and uphold the rule of law, no matter how inconvenient. Oh, I'm speaking like Mr. Abdullahi right now. I can when he wrote this, and I could feel the fury. I could feel the anger. He says, what is at stake here is not just one Senate seat, but the integrity of our democracy itself. All right, so the ADC therefore stands firmly in defense of democratic principles and women's political participation. Congratulations, Nigerian women. ADC is coming to rescue you. Congratulations. He said, we therefore demand that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan be allowed to resume her duties immediately. That is where the story ends. That is where Mr. Abdullahi decided to drop the final bomb. That she is allowed to return. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching me from, hear this very clearly. ADC is trying to woo Senator Natasha. Well, whether they succeed or not is left to be seen. But I will tell you for free that ADC does not have the capacity to turn around the Nigerian situation. They don't have the capacity. But I don't also know if the PDP will allow them to snatch Senator Natasha out of their paws. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this edition. I'd like you to watch, I'd like you to comment, I'd like you to subscribe. I'd like you to share. If there are things that you think we can do to make this program, the street talk show, there are things that you want to recommend, you can go ahead and recommend. Just don't be offended if you're not, if you're a member of ADC, don't be so hard on me. Don't be offended. I just have to let you know that probably where you are is not the right place, because I've looked at the people that are promoting ADC. I can't really see them delivering the dividends of democracy to Nigerians. And so, if you are a fan of Natasha, Akpoti-Uduaghan, distinguished senator, don't be too hard on me. I may not share your views too. I feel a woman should have decorum. I also feel that a woman is a mother, and so should behave in some ways that will not ridicule motherhood. You shouldn't behave like a mafioso. Oh yes, a woman shouldn't behave like a mafioso, wanting to use certain antics, certain illegal antics to coerce men to submission. No, that's not the way to go. And for PDP, if you're a member of PDP, and I did say that PDP is finished, of course, without any apology, PDP had their time to turn this country around. They did not. They did not. They also wasted resources and plunged us downwards. So they are just like a snake, a giant snake that the head has been cut off, and nobody can help them. They're drowning. So until I come your way next time with another topic, but just be rest assured that the streets talk show is going to be hot. It's going to be brutal. It's just going to be hot. My name is Abundance Effiong. I'm a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for watching. I'm also a filmmaker. I'm also an actor. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.